Support for Scottish independence will exponentially rise if Boris Johnson continues to bunker down and block a second referendum, the former Speaker of the House of Commons has said. John Bercow suggested the UK government would be unable to resist a second vote if there is evidence a majority of Scots want it. He also said it is perfectly possible that Scotland may decide to hold a ballot without the consent of Westminster, and argued circumstances have changed since 2014. Mr. Bercow made the comments at an event in Edinburgh organised by the Topping & Company bookshop. He said, "I think it will be quite interesting to see whether over a sustained period, let's say 2 or 3 years, there is evidence of a majority of people in Scotland definitely wanting that further referendum, and/or definitely wanting Scottish independence. If that happens, it just seems to me that although legally a government might be able to resist, sometimes legal facts can clash with political reality. My view, by the way, for what it's worth on Scottish independence is simply that ultimately, if you believe in sovereignty, if you believe in self-government, if you believe in the right of people to choose their own destiny, it has to be up to Scotland ultimately to decide. At the point at which they do, I think that decision has to be respected." Mr. Bercow, who served as Speaker from 2009 until last year, said there are very real fissures between Scotland and Westminster. He said there is an irony that an avowedly, explicitly, robustly unionist government, made up of the Conservative and Unionist Party, is in charge at a time when the strength of the UK has looked more precarious than for a long time, and the danger of it being ripped asunder, is, greater than for a long time. Mr. Johnson formally rejected Nicola Sturgeon's request for a second referendum last month. The Prime Minister said Ms Sturgeon had previously said the 2014 vote was a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Mr. Bercow argued the UK government was legally within its rights to do this. He said, "The Prime Minister is perfectly entitled to say ad nauseam to Ian Blackford and his SNP colleagues and Nicola Sturgeon, look, you had your referendum on independence in 2014, we agreed it was once in a generation, you lost, we won, be quiet." Legally, he's entitled to say that. However, there's one very important caveat. I've never championed Scottish independence and I'm not here to do that. Nor am I here to argue against it, I'm not here for that purpose at all. What I would say is this, it is important to be fair about this. At the time it was agreed it would be once in a generation, subject to one very important caveat, unless there was a material change. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very hard to argue that there hasn't been. For more on this story, visit the news article link.